Hey, welcome everybody to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Not coming to you live from State College's Quaker Steak and Lube today, and not featuring the Ironhead because he's on an airplane as we speak on his way to Iowa City for Penn State's much anticipated wrestling match against the hated Iowa Hawkeyes. I'm Chris Buchanani, the obligatory PSU pregame show, filling in for Jeff. But Goon's here with me, and just because of our crazy schedules, Goon, we could not work out to be at State College's Quaker Steak and Lube, though certainly all of our viewers and listeners should go check that out today and any day if they're looking to be well taken care of and to have some of the best wings and for sure the greatest selection of sauces in the Nittany Valley. Yes?
Go to Quaker Steak and Lube after you hit Kia, after you hit Timberland Federal Credit Union for a loan to go buy a car at Kia, you go to the Lube.
You go celebrate at the Lube. I love it.
One-stop shopping, baby.
So appreciate you accommodating my schedule, Goon, letting us do this remotely. Yeah.
Booch.
I see that. I see that. You are clean shaven, and that means that the Philadelphia Eagles have finished their regular season and postseason. Tough. So we'll talk about that a little bit, I'm sure. NFL coaching carousel in full swing. Could it create some more chaos, Goon, in the college ranks before all is said and done? Rumors swirling around, of course, Notre Dame's Marcus Freeman, including in connection with the Steelers job opening, Ohio State's Ryan Day, and we'll talk about this a little bit. I still do not believe and won't believe until all these vacancies are filled that Steve Sarkisian is not getting calls and being offered a lot of money to depart the chaos of college football and just coach ball in the NFL. So that's going to be an interesting topic for today. But let's tease a little bit what to me is the biggest news in the football world, certainly here in Happy Valley, and a special guest we're going to have joining us at the bottom of the hour, your former teammate.
Yeah, buddy. I mean, I told you yesterday when I found out that Kijana got in the College Football Hall of Fame. You know, there's the way I look at it, Booch, is my quarterback and running back are now in the College Football Hall of Fame. So that's as close as I'm going to get to it. And, people, you have to know the stipulations. You have to be a Walter Camp All-American on some of the All-American lists to actually be even nominated for the College Football Hall of Fame. So I don't know how it took this freaking long. I honest to God, I do not know why it took this long, because if you put his numbers up, they're unbelievable. So he got a hold of us yesterday and says, "Fellas, turn the TV on at 2:00," and I couldn't do it. So then I texted him. I said, "What did I miss?" And he sent me a picture of who got put in the Hall of Fame, and he's one of the guys getting put in, and in a great class, by the way. I know three guys that are getting put in there rather well, pretty funny. Yeah, Mark Ingram comes to State College all the time. I met Mark at the Field about 5 years ago when he was in town for Fox Sports, and I'm telling you, man, I had lunch with him that day, had dinner with him that night, and every time he comes to town, we get together. Just an unbelievably great dude, like one of those guys that, like, a lot like Kijana, is very approachable, is very, very, he understands people. He understands he's a pretty big person, like not physically, but he's a pretty well-known person and stuff like that. And it's an honor to meet people, and he treats it like that. There's not like a jerk bone in their bodies. They're very similar. And the third one that I know was Marvin Harrison, who I know from up and playing against in high school, going on college together, same class together. We got drafted to the Colts the same time. So just great to hear Marvin getting in. He had a great career at Syracuse. But Kijana, and I don't know if you saw my Facebook post yesterday, I'm obviously my quarterback and my running back are in. So that's a proud Goon moment right there. I'm not gonna lie. I may have bought a tear in my eye yesterday thinking about it, and then I'm thinking, like, hell, we still got 3 more guys to get put in. Tell you a funny story is that me and Bucky Greeley, we both bought tuxedos when Kerry Collins got put in the College Football Hall of Fame. We say, we got 5 more years of guys going in, so we may as well get a tuxedo that fits and this and that. So
okay, so you're saying Kyle Brady, Bobby Ingram, and Jeff Hardings.
Correct. They're the three that are left that
Yep.
are eligible because they are Walter Camp All-American honorees, and they were on multiple lists. And then Jeff and Bobby were two-time All-Americans. So, again, what in the hell is taking that long for them? Bobby
the inaugural Biletnikoff Award
Absolutely.
winner. Yeah, crazy to me that he's not in there. I mean, all five of those guys should be in. Really only Kerry Collins got in a timely fashion, in my opinion. Now, obviously, I'm biased. But you should take pride in the fact that Kerry Collins and Kajana Carter are in the Hall of Fame because that's a testament to you and the rest of that offensive line. That when I talk about the '94 season in my Penn State football history class, I tell the students was the best O-line in program history. And when you look at that offense, Goon, you look at what you guys were able to do during that undefeated season, and you compare it to other teams in college football at that time, you were doing stuff that no one else was accomplishing. I mean, that team is talked about, rightly so, right up there now with 2019 LSU and a handful of other teams as the best offense in college football history.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. And to me, it's just crazy that that's not been better recognized with enshrining the eligible guys in the Hall.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, there was a slant in the 80s and 90s about getting too many Pittsburgh Steelers from the 70s in the NFL Hall of Fame. I believe that like a guy like Jerry Kramer, the Green Bay Packers from back in the day, he took 50 years to get in the Hall of Fame, but he's considered the best guard to ever play. But the politics of it is there was already too many Green Bay Packers in there. So it's like, I don't know, is there a stigma because we weren't national title winners? I don't know. I mean, were we not pushing enough?
That's certainly part of it. And again, I'll use any platform I can get to call on Pat Kraft to just go ahead and recognize that '94 title. When you look across the sport,
Booch, I'm not going to lie to you. I did send a message yesterday when I got the message from John. I said to Pat, I said, "Isn't it time we declare '94 national championship?"
Please. I want him to get so sick of hearing people bringing that up to him that he finally decides to do it just to shut everybody up. When you look across the sport and you look at the number of teams that are going out there and saying so much of how we think and talk about the history of college football is based on the subjective viewpoint of a bunch of sports writers from the time, that why should we have to be defined, but to whatever, like 16, 17, 18-year-old kids now on social media who are determining who the best programs in college football are. And what do? They go straight to Wikipedia and they look and see how many national titles have you won. There are some schools that it's like, oh man, look at this. So impressive. They won 12 national championships. You only won 2 or whatever. Because a lot of those schools, they're looking at the NCAA rules and they're saying, okay, what does the NCAA say I can claim? I'm going to take the maximum number and they'll credit me for that. Penn State's never done that before. And I understand why they didn't do it. But I just think the environment has changed enough that it's time for us to, if belatedly, get on board that train. And of all the claims Penn State could make, the early 20th century teams, 1911, 1912, those like 6 teams from the 60s and 70s, the JOPA undefeated teams. If you look at all of them, by far, the strongest claim, the biggest no-brainer is 1994. Because to me, you don't have to look any farther than the fact that there were 3 other split national titles in that decade. Every single time you had 2 power programs both go undefeated, they split the national title other than 94. And in fact, it was either, I can't remember whether it was 90 or 91.
Yep.
One of the teams wasn't even undefeated and they split the title. And so to me, to look at what that team did and to look at its legacy and to compare them statistically, whatever you want to do against 1994 Nebraska, and then look at what happened in every other similar situation across a whole decade. The NCAA says, okay, here's all the accrediting agencies that if they rank you number 1 at the end of the season, you can claim a national title and we'll put it in the books. Penn State can do it. Penn State should do it.
Yes.
And no better time than Kajana getting into the Hall and recognizing that great season he had in 94 and what that team did. So I'm all for it.
I mean, you talk about the 1911 and 1912. I mean, none of us know what the hell was going on then and there,
Sure.
You look at Minnesota and you look at Auburn and you look at Pitt, they're all claiming national titles throughout the wazoo. I mean, they're the three biggest culprits, in my opinion.
And for anybody out there who cares, I will put the Nittany Lions of 1912 up against any of those other early century claimants. They were one of the best teams, if not the best team in the sport that year. So I think we should claim that one too. But, Goon, like, to go back to your question about is there bias against the Penn State guys because you didn't win the national title? And you mentioned Mark Ingram's getting in this year.
Yep.
And I think it would probably be shocking to a lot of younger fans to find out, he didn't play that long ago. He was the first Heisman Trophy winner for Alabama ever. And I do think that's part of it too. You look at 94, Rashaan Salam gets the Heisman Trophy for two reasons, really. Number one, he was the feature back on a team that gave him way more carries than Kajana was ever getting because you guys were sitting in the second half. The offense was so good. And Kerry Collins took votes away from him. Those guys basically canceled each other out in the Heisman voting.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, we watched – I'll go through the whole thing because I know Kajana's coming on in 20 minutes. So we watched as the offensive line, they had – the award show was Thursday night back in the day. Yeah. Remember that? This is when this started. It was in Orlando. It was really actually the first year that they had multiple trophies given out on one night. And then they had the Heisman on Saturday. So Thursday night, they gave out all the awards. Bobby wins the Biletnikoff. They didn't have the Mackey Award then because Kyle Brady would have won the Mackey Award that year for sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, they see that he doesn't have that number. So, but if you recall, Kerry Collins won the Maxwell Award that night.
Yeah.
And the Maxwell is just like the Heisman pretty much. It was like, it was like the NIT and the NCAA tournament in hoops. Like, at one point, the NIT was bigger than the NCAA, and then it got overtaken, sort of like the Maxwell and the Heisman. So KC wins the Maxwell, and we're all sitting there like, oh, hell, man, there's a chance we're going to win this thing, So I remember we were at Bucky Greeley's apartment on campus, and they had ESPN, all the news crews were there, and it was all the offensive line just sitting around. It was like a college NFL draft day watch party is what it was for the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
And as soon as that name was not called, they turned those cameras off pretty quick because it was a lot of mayhem and a lot of some unhappy stuff that was going on because we were sitting there saying, okay, because we were told, and you know how social media was not around back then. We heard that Joe was told to get to the Heisman Trophy. Now he wasn't there, I don't think. But we were told, and we heard, but we don't know if it was true or not, that, hey, Joe, why don't you get to the Heisman Trophy ceremony? And that to us meant, oh, God, one of us is going to win this thing. And then, I don't think Joe was at the actual ceremony that day. But then they called for – and then, it's like people ask me about Nebraska winning the national – do I hate them? No. They did what they had to do. They did the same thing we did. I'm not mad at them. Nebraska. I don't hate Nebraska. I don't,
Well, they had no more control over it than you guys did. I mean, that's the whole point about the system back then. And I'll always remember the story of you sitting on the set of the Players Show before we filmed or during a commercial break or something, trying to explain to Hakeem Beeman how once upon a time the national title got determined by sports writers voting on it. I mean, to a younger college football fan or player, it just doesn't compute. When you explain the system the way it was set up for decades, it sounds so ridiculous, it seems unbelievable.
Do you know what I say? When I explain it to people, and the easiest way I can explain it is there was a magazine back then. It was called Inside Sport Magazine. It was authored and produced and read, written by John Feinstein, who was a pretty damn good writer in his day.
Yep.
So it's actually, I have a picture in the magazine that said what should have been. It was a picture of me raising the one and a picture of a guy from Nebraska raising the one. It was a good week for me, by the way. I got Sports Illustrated and Inside Sport in one game. I was like, well, I don't know what I did, but I got it done. But The best thing I heard and it explained is, and this is me explaining that to a younger person a couple of years ago, and that was the opening line of the article said, okay, UCLA and Arkansas won their Final Four games on Saturday night in basketball. Now both teams go home, and then they vote Sunday of who would win the game on Monday night. And Hakeem was like, what? And I said, yes, we played a bowl game in the Rose Bowl. They played the Orange Bowl. We could not play each other. And he was like, why not? And I was like, well, let me tell you about something, and that's called the bowl system. And there's a lot of people who make a lot of money on them, so they're never going to go away. So this was the way it was. And he was like, so what? And he's like, you guys played, and then they voted. I said, yeah, well, even worse. I said, the worst part is that Bob Costas at NBC already gave the national title to Nebraska the night before we played our game. And he was like, really? And I said, yeah. They put the thing right across the beam. Nebraska, congratulations to Tom Osborne, his first national championship, yada, yada, yada. I mean, it was like one of those, like, is this really happening? Is this real life? But he couldn't believe it. But I said, that's the way it was. So
now, who do you think had it worse? You guys with Bob Costas giving away your national championship, or the 69 team and having Richard Nixon do it?
Or Tricky Dick Nixon giving it away. But do you know the worst part about the 68-69 thing? Did you ever look at that story? Like ESPN did a short on it. Did you ever see that? You ever watch that?
Yeah. Yep.
They actually declared the national championship before the bowl games. It was like after the regular season, they declared them national titles.
Yeah,
champions.
That's the way they did it back then.
And then, by the way, that's one of my favorite Joe Paterno lines. And is that Tricky Dick knew more about college football in 1968 than he did about Watergate. I found that to me is the ultimate Joe Paterno humor right there.
Yeah. Do you know when he said that line, other than in the intro of the obligatory?
He was doing a speech at graduation in the 70s.
Yep.
When he was hammering the board of trustees to be smaller. They should not be bigger, and they should not wield as much power as they do. And something happened, I guess. Oh wow, a couple of vendettas were born that day. But Booch, who were the two teams in the early '90s that shared?
So you had
the two are pretty well known.
So there's four of them, and I always get them. Yeah. So there was. In no particular order, I know it was Miami, Washington, Georgia Tech, and Colorado.
Exactly. Georgia Tech and Colorado. Think of that.
And I want to say it was it Tech and Washington that split the title one year? It was Tech and Colorado.
Miami and Washington in 90 were 91. It was 91, and in 90 it was Bobby Ross and Bobby Ross coaching the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, by the way.
Yeah.
And Bill McCartney coaching the Colorado Buffaloes in 90.
Well, and then to start the 91 season, Penn State played Georgia Tech in the kickoff classic, and Georgia Tech had the nation's longest winning streak, broken by the Nittany Lions.
That was me and Kijana's first game ever at Penn State was the kickoff classic, and they left us back.
Okay, so you mentioned Kijana. Perfect time to just pause. Everybody, you've just tuned in. It's the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Ironhead not on the program today. He is in the air on his way to Iowa City for the wrestling match against the Hawkeyes. Buchanani filling in. The Goon with me. We are not at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we are proudly sponsored by State College's Quaker Steak and Lube. We encourage you to go out there and get yourself some wings today or any day. We are talking about Penn State's latest college football Hall of Famer, running back, great Kijana Carter. Kijana is going to be joining us here at the bottom of the hour, so stay tuned for that. But I'm talking with one of the guys who paved the way for him. You know, I was on the air yesterday, Goon, when this news broke, and I was excited about it because I was pretty confident he was getting in this time. But as we've discussed, he should have been in years ago, so you didn't know for sure. And I said on the air when the news broke, the one thing that always struck me as a fan, and we've had so many good running backs here at Penn State, I don't know that I've ever seen anyone, certainly myself, play the position, and I'm going to include Saquon Barkley with this, who gave me as much of a feeling like every time he touched the ball, no matter where it was on the field, the run could finish in the end zone. That was just kind of the sense you got every single time Kijana touched the ball.
No doubt about it. I mean, even blocking for him, dude. I mean, it was like, I mean, he would be like, hey, hold that block another tenth of a second because and then, I don't need to blow smoke up his butt or anybody's butt, but dude, his leg strength and his speed were just unmatched. Like Curtis Enos was physically bigger.
Yeah.
But he was not as fast nor as quick.
Sure.
And Curtis was a strong dude. Saquon is the only one who I had said, even, as an Eagles fan, at the playoffs last year, anytime he could have broke one of those, broke a run. And he did a couple. But Kijana, it was just like, holy crap, man. It's like watching Derrick Henry, and he never got caught. He never got caught. Once he got through that first, that front seven, and a safety sitting there trying to make a play, he doesn't make that play. There's no one going to catch him. And I want to ask him on the air, about Bobby. I mean, you watch any highlight where I put those highlights to you today, I sent them to you. You don't make those long runs without your wide receivers blocking downfield.
Sure.
And Bobby Ingram and Freddie Scott were not the biggest guys in the world, but they just got in guys' face. But anytime you see a long run by those guys, you'll see Bobby and Freddie and Kyle downfield just hammering guys, staying on guys, working guys, blocking them, getting in the way, and Kijana just going, man. And it was unbelievable. It was fun. There were times when we would just be like our defense would be on the sideline, like, dude, come on. Like I remember, like Todd Atkins and Eric Clare were two of our roommates at a house there were six of us in 1994. And they would just be sitting there. We'd come home from a game, and they'd be like, dude, you're killing us. Like, and our defense got chewed up the whole year. They got absolutely mauled physically because teams were like, we can't go 3 and out. We got to run the ball. We got to slow this team down. So the defense would get a great interception or a fumble recovery. We go out. I mean, how many drives do we have under a minute? Like 30?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
How many? That's insane. Like to have that many drives in that short of time, and then the average drive time was like 2.5 minutes for all of our touchdowns.
Noble's talked about this a lot, about how that was Penn State's only second year in the Big Ten, at least competing in football in the Big Ten. And especially at the defensive side of the line of scrimmage, undersized to handle some of those big old Big Ten offensive lines. And I've been talking about that a little bit recently with the number of big boys we're bringing in through the transfer portal to play, especially on the interior of the defensive line. So not only was the offense scoring so quickly back in 94 that you guys kept putting the defense out there, but you didn't play Wisconsin that year, but you're playing those Wisconsin-sized offensive linemen from the Big Ten. You really let those guys get beaten up over the course of that season.
We did, and then if you watch the Illinois game, obviously everything that went in there with the pregame blackout and stuff like that in the hotel and pizza and hoagies for lunch. But if you look at the opening of that game, we're running the 34 front with Brandon Noble at nose guard because we had no other defensive linemen. And Brandon Noble's playing nose guard at 270 pounds, 55 pounds.
Yeah.
In the Big Ten. And he doesn't have a backup, but they're expecting him to play 85 plays that day. Like, that position is for a guy like Ted Washington to take on like 3 blockers at like 385 pounds. That's how the game was played then. So, the other thing about us joining the Big Ten that I don't think it's talked about enough is I really thought we brought the dynamic offensive line to the Big Ten. It used to be like the Greg Skrepniks of Michigan of being like 400 pounds of just laying on people and beating them. Like, you watch our offensive line, we were athletic as hell, man. Like, all of us were really good two-sport athletes. And then you look around the Big Ten at that time, and it was all bigger guys and this and that. And then it's like almost like, and for one strange reason, Iowa had these really short offensive line guys. These short, like, plug guys that were, like, really low to the ground, and they would hammer people. Within 5 years, the Big Ten had changed. And their recruiting was larger, taller, athletic offensive linemen. Now you look at what Iowa produces now in the last 25 years as an offensive line. That's what we bought to the Big Ten. We got rid of that, 3 yards in a cloud of dust mentality. We were throwing the ball around. But we weren't – Al, you can ask Kijana this question. Is that we weren't reinventing the wheel offensively. We were reinventing the wheel offensively, statistics.
Yeah.
We were running a base offense that Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Michigan, we all ran the same damn offenses. A power I. That's it. Tight end I. Yeah, and that was it. And here you go. Pitch the ball, fullback, kick out, offensive lineman. Everybody ran the same thing. But it was okay, well, if all 11 of our guys on offense do their job, you can't stop it. And then there were times when, if some defenses would come out a little chippy, we weren't talkers. None of us ever were really big yappers, TS and out there. That wasn't our thing. But when defenses tried to do that to us, and then we would just go up, and then we would just be hammering them. We would just be all right, you started this, and be you'd walk out of the line and you hear Marco going, pitch right. He's telling the defense where it's coming, and we're still breaking it for 15, 20 yards. And it was just it was a cocky attitude that we had. We were very good. We knew it. And as the season wore on, it was almost like Joe had to keep us under control. He was trying to keep us from embarrassing people. There's no doubt about it. I want you to ask Kijana how many plays he played in the fourth quarter in that season.
Well, it can't be many. I remember you guys would be sitting most of the time, and I know you've told that story about how exhausted everyone was after Michigan because it was one of the rare times you had to play 4 quarters. It
was the 7th week of the season, or 6th week, because we had 5 weeks we won, had a bye week, went to Michigan, and I remember being so freaking tired on the sideline in that game, and even when we got home, I've told you the story. I had 2 beers and I passed out, fell asleep. And that's how bad it was. But that was because we were out of shape. We weren't in playing shape anymore. We were destroying people.
Yeah.
You've heard me say this in the obligatory show. We got so cocky that we'd be in the locker room at halftime and say, run the script backwards. So for any would script the first 20 plays of the game, we'd go out and run them, score 4 touchdowns, be up 28-0 in the first 9 minutes of the game. Kijana's out of the game. It's the third quarter. We're going into halftime, up 35-0 going against Iowa. I think it was 42-0 against Iowa in the first half. And Franny's hey, we're going to run the script backwards. And we just ran 20 through 1. But we weren't playing. We weren't in there no more. We were out of the game. But, that Michigan game in week 6 or 7, we were really damn tired, man. Really tired. I was, because we hadn't played in the third and fourth quarters the whole season. We had been blowing people out for so long. That was something to adjust to, but we got it done. But to go back to Joe, man, he reined us in pretty good. He really did. He didn't want to embarrass other coaches, other teams, universities, and he didn't want us getting too cocky, which he tried.
Sure.
And I've told the story many times that when did we realize that we were really good? And Bucky Greeley was the captain of captains. He was the smartest, level-headed guy of us all, kept us all in line for years. Defense kicks offense's ass every preseason, every spring. It's just natural. It's just easier to see ball, hit ball, kill. That's it.
Right.
That's their defense. That's what defense is. So offense is precision, timing, all this and all of that. So you don't have that in August in the preseason, the first 2 weeks. Defense should come out and kick the crap out of everybody, So we're about 1 week into practice, and we're scoring every third play in our defense, and Joe's getting worried the defense is going to get demoralized. So we start scoring touchdowns and scrimmages, and he starts calling blatant, that's a hold! That's a hold! He's making up penalties, just to try and keep us in line from getting cocky and conceited and arrogant. So, he'd be sitting there saying that you were holding that play, and he'd have referees, and then he'd light us up in this and that. And we'd be in the huddle, MFing him, this is bull, all this. And Bucky's like, dude, relax. He's stacking it against us. We're pretty good, fellas. Just relax. And we're all like, oh, okay, yeah, you make a point, Bucky. And that was it. We were good. We realized.
Forget about Penn State football history. I'm talking the history of college football. One of the most potent offenses that's ever taken a field. One of the key cogs of that whole operation, running back Kajana Carter, should have won the Heisman Trophy that season. All due respect to Kerry Collins in this humble fan and historian's opinion. Finally, getting into the College Football Hall of Fame. Going to join us here at the bottom of the hour. We're going to take a little break. Before that, it's the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We're on 98.7 The Fox here in Happy Valley. Proudly brought to you by State College's Quaker Steak and Lube. Stay tuned. We'll be back with Kajana Carter after this.
You look a bit nervous, hey?
Thierry, what's it like to stand in the FIFA World Cup stadium?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Just tell me. Come on.
It's not something that you can put into words.
Such a tease.
You can't rush it. You will find out when it's your time.
Thanks for the wisdom, coach. So, how much longer?
Now go and make history, my man. Here's the World Cup you've been waiting for.
Actually, the World Cup's been waiting for me.
That's the spirit. Just remember who drove you here.
Inspiring every step of the next legend. The official matchball carrier, proudly sponsored by Kia. Inspiration connects us all.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXX, once again, The Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7 The Fox State College.
Back here on 98.7 The Fox, it's the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead Show. Chris Bucanati filling in for Jeff, the Ironhead. Byers getting ready to bring radio listeners across Nittany Nation all the action from the defending national champion wrestling team's big match with the Iowa Hawkeyes out in Iowa City. I am joined by former Penn State offensive lineman Keith Goon Conlin. We are talking about the enshrinement, Goon, of your former teammate, Penn State running back Kajana Carter, selected to finally go into the College Football Hall of Fame. Kajana going to be joining us here just shortly. Going to be really cool to talk to him, kind of hear his memories. I'm going to let you guys geek out over some stories. But while we're waiting for Kajana to come in, Goon, tell me a good story that you remember. It could either be from the 94 season or really I'm always interested in what was the lead up like for you guys as you were the youngsters sitting behind some really talented teams waiting to get your shot.
Yeah, I remember it like it was yesterday. We were sitting there, and I talked about the Kickoff Classic being in New York City against Georgia Tech. We talked about that earlier. And
yeah,
our second game, our first home game, was against Cincinnati, and we won 81-0.
Right.
And I remember me, Jeff, and Marco were sitting on the way left where all the fat offensive linemen stand, and John was all pissed off because Joe came up to us and said, hey, we're redshirting you guys. You guys aren't going to play. And, at the time, it wasn't like it is now when it's like pretty structured of what is a red shirt, what isn't a red shirt. Like we were all like, okay, we're allowed to play 3 games of our freshman year and then we can redshirt. Joe came up and says, no, you're not playing. You're not going to play today. You guys are going to redshirt. And Kijana was like, I'm out of here, dude. I'm transferring. He goes, I came here to play football. I don't want to sit here and wait and this and that. And as offensive lineman, I knew I wasn't ready to play, but I'm sure
right.
He was physically ready to go out there and play. So,
sure.
we're gonna yuck it up, but just talking about our recruiting class from 1991 is just absolutely insane. We're talking about guys who left here, but like Kijana, like I'll let you ask him and say, if it was as easy as it was to leave now as it was back then, it was easy back then as it is now to transfer. I wonder, we all would have transferred. Sure. I say it all the time. Nobody who played college football has ever said, oh, I'm good. I'm going to be playing here ASAP. This and everybody had doubts at least one time. At least one time of the doubt was, I can't play here. I just can't do it. Or I'm not getting what I want, and that's playing time. So, we're talking about, think about just our offensive line class that came in was well known. We had 5, really good offensive linemen, and the one who didn't make it was the greatest offensive line recruit in Penn State history, and Scott Stratton. May God rest his soul, but he left Penn State, but he was the number 1 offensive line recruit in the country, and he never played. So you're talking about a guy like that. And then our running backs class, they had, I believe, 6 All-Americans committed in one class that were running backs. Like what do you like? I would love to know what he was thinking when it was like, okay, well, a fifth running back is joined. That's a lot of people in the backfield. I know that 2 or 3 of them got moved to fullback. Brian Milne, Johnny Whitman, and the JT Morris, he was actually the only one in our class to play as a freshman at running back.
Yeah, let me stop you there real quickly because, I know everyone knows Milne and Whitman. Both those guys were critical parts of the 94 offense and both went on to have really nice pro careers. Talk a little bit about JT Morris. I think that is a name that gets totally forgotten. I will admit, as somebody who knows a lot about this stuff, I basically that guy was gone down the memory hole until one day we were just sitting around over beers and you and Noble got going on him. That's a name that everybody forgets who was part of that blockbuster recruiting class you guys are in. Talk about Morris a little bit.
Yeah, JT was big enough to play fullback here. Think about that. We had Sam Gash, Ryan Moser, Brian O'Neill, Whitman, and Milne at fullback then. And they had JT Morris was actually out there playing because Sam Gash was a senior, and Brian O'Neill was redshirting as a junior to try and salvage 2 more years. So,
hey, by the way, fingers crossed. We're hoping next season Sam Gash going to be the proud papa of a Nittany Lion.
I see Sam's Facebook stuff and those pictures of and the videos of his kid. My God, dude, he could play. So Sam was the fullback in '91, and then Brian O'Neill was going to redshirt. So it was like, okay, we got to make somebody into a fullback. And Brian Moser was there, but Moser had a lot of shoulder issues and injuries and stuff like that. So they bumped JT Morris, who was not built like a fullback, but built enough like a fullback that he could get it done. So they had him playing. They had him playing fullback, man.
Well, I think Richie Anderson played a little fullback at times. Did he not?
Yep, and they had him rotating around with Brian. Like that was the thing. Then is that Richie Anderson wasn't a small guy either.
Yeah,
not a small guy whatsoever. So they had these guys who could do both. So we had JT out there running plays, and he's out there. I mean, again, Bobby Ingram and him were the only guys, and Justin Williams were the only guys on offense who didn't redshirt. So we would all cheer those guys on, and JT was special. But JT missed his girl, man. He missed his girl down in Lynchburg, Virginia. So I sat next to JT freshman year in study hall and stuff like that, and he was always just like, he was homesick as hell. And the old man would not let him go. He didn't want to lose that kind of talent. And that was the thing that Joe had to sign off on those transfers back then. So,
boy, it's
that was a whole nother can of worms right there.
Yeah.
So JT had asked for his transfer a couple times. And I think that after the 92 season, he finally did get it. And actually, he went down and was playing at Liberty and got the Bo Jackson hip injury. So his career fizzled and faded, and that's what happened to him. But he was as good as any of those guys at a younger age, and he was balling early, man. So I mean,
it's fascinating to me when you look at any college football recruiting class, who rises to the top, who gets forgotten. It really is luck, opportunity plus ability. Because you talk about it like JT Morris is a great example of running back. And you mentioned before the break, Scott Stratton. It's one of those things where offensive line, Goon, I think more than any other position, is so difficult to project from high school to college. Like we just saw it just recently here at Penn State with Javen Williams and Alex Birchmeyer, 2 of the highest rated offensive line recruits that James Franklin brought in here.
Yep.
I don't know if either one of those guys believed they were good enough to play for him at Virginia Tech. And so, they end up at Charlotte and Liberty instead.
I've been saying on the Goon and Ironhead show with Jeff all the time, I say Signetti's got it right. And I give you credit for this. When the transfer portal and the NIL started up, you said 2 things. One was kids are going to start suing the NCAA to get more eligibility because there's more money in college than working at IBM. And then 2 was, okay, John calling me, so 2 was what were we talking about? Transfer portal stuff.
Yeah, well, you connect with Kijana there because we got to get him on the air. I can just BS here for a little bit. So yeah, to that point, Goon was making there's been a lot of talk, obviously, about what is the secret sauce here for Curt Cignetti. He's got his team 1 game away from on the 50th anniversary of IU basketball's undefeated season and championship, having the first 16-0 national champion in college football. And I do think a big part of it is that he has figured out the key to especially building your starting lineups on both sides of the football is let someone else sort out all these questions of
what are you talking about? Cignetti? I didn't hear you.
Cignetti, yeah. Who was an undervalued asset, who was overrated, and he's letting some other program develop these guys, and then he brings them in for their junior and their senior year or whatever, their 6th, 7th, their 8th year, whatever they get from the NCAA. Somebody else has already done the hard work of missing on the 5-star busts or developing the 2-star diamonds in the rough, And then, you just throw a little money at him. Hey, here's a chance to come play for one of the hottest coaches in the sport. And you got yourself a finished product ready to go.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. And that you said you made this comment 3 or 4 years ago, and that was, where do you spend your money? You spend your money on your skill players out of high school, because the offensive line is so hard to pick and say that guy's going to make it. You can look at a defensive end and the defensive tackle and a linebacker and a safety and a running back in a corner and say they're going to make it. You cannot look at a guy like me playing against guys like you and say, oh, this guy's going to make it. It's not.
Think about this. So three NFL centers from Penn State, okay? Mike Mennett, 5-star All-World. Juice Scruggs, 4-star interior lineman, projected to be a potential NFL guy, but not nearly as ballyhooed as a high school recruit as Mike Mennett was. Hunter Norzad, playing in the Ivy League to start his NFL career. Of those three, the one who lasted the least amount of time in the league, and I think actually was drafted the lowest of the three, was Mennett. And Scruggs and Norzad are still going strong.
Look at what we just got a transfer portal from Texas State, right? An offensive lineman who was a freshman All-American. I personally would go ravage the ACC, the AAC, and the MEC. Go in there, find a freshman who you can watch and sit them and watch him play. Watch a Western Michigan guy go against the Michigan D-line and say, how did this guy handle himself? Rather than going to high school and saying, hey, I think we got to give this guy a shot.
I think if we put this guy in our strength and conditioning program and he doesn't transfer 3 years from now, he might be good enough to start. Yep.
We've had more 5-star bust offensive linemen than we've had 5-star stars that actually starred.
I think that's I don't think that's unique to Penn State.
Nope.
If you look at offensive linemen who get drafted, Goon, there are more mid-range, 2-3-star recruits at O-line that I think any other position in the pros, just because of everything you just said. It's so difficult to project. I always wonder if star ranking existed back when you guys were playing. How would that Penn State offensive line of 94, how would they have looked in terms of their star rankings? Probably you think Jeff and Marco would have been pretty well thought of. No? You're shaking your head?
Jeff was by far the least recruited.
Is that right?
Jeff would have been a 2-star.
See, that's crazy to me.
Absolutely, he would have been a 2-star.
And he had probably he plays for a better team than did Detroit Lions for most of his NFL career. He's in the Hall of Fame.
And doesn't play guard with the Detroit Lions. If he played center his whole career, I think he would have. It seems center's going to, like we talk about a lot, center's got a lot more mojo than guards in the NFL. So
yeah, no doubt.
So Jeff was 240 pounds when he got here. 242 is what he weighed in when he walked in the door here. So that's a kid that, now you got to remember he was from St. Henry, Ohio, which is up in northwest Ohio and the Indiana border. His high school class was Bobby Hoying as his quarterback, and they had 4 other Division I players.
Right.
They won the state high school basketball and football titles in their senior year. That's just a stud, dude. So, but he didn't get a shot, and he did not want to go to Ohio State. He hated John Cooper. I'm talking about Jeff now. He didn't like John Cooper. I don't think Kijana had too much love for John Cooper because Kijana grew up outside of Columbus and he came to Penn State. So, that's a whole story in itself. But yeah, so I go back. So Stratton would have been a 5-star easily. He'd have been a top 5-star. I believe because me, Marco, and Andre played other sports and we were already very, very big and tall and athletic, we probably would have been 4 stars because we were on the All USA Today, All American teams, stuff like that. So you figure what 5 or 10% of the players get 5 stars. So we would have been bunched down into the 4-star range. But Mike Archie, Stephen Michael Pitts, Milne, and Whitman, they'd have been 5-star guys. I can't imagine how many 5-stars they would have recruited in that class alone.
Well, and Bobby was a little overlooked as well, right?
I don't know because he was in South Carolina, so he was down south. I didn't know anything about him until he was in the room, right? And he was one of my bunkmates in our freshman year dorm. Yeah, but Bobby his dad was a coach, so he was royalty down in South Carolina. So he was pretty damn good, and Bobby was a hell of a baseball player too. Go back to it, man. Ask anybody. We were all really, really good multi-sport Joe Paterno type of guys.
Yeah. I wonder how much we're going to see of that going forward because there's so much emphasis on sports specialization now in youth sports. For as many times as I hear coaches and scouts talk about the value of playing different sports and what it does to develop you as an athlete, my experience and observations as a parent is that the messages that the kids are getting today are the exact opposite of that. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on that soapbox, but I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there in the audience who are parents of athletes who remember what it was like when we were kids in terms of the freedom you had to go play different sports in different seasons. It was almost encouraged. And nobody ever really thought about you're a youth sports athlete and you're thinking about your off-season conditioning programs. Now it seems like no matter what you do, the expectation is that you're doing that sport exclusively 365 days a year.
My parents probably would have shot me. Football was over and I wasn't doing anything for 8 more months. I told you the story before, I think maybe. Because I didn't want to play basketball my senior year. You know what I wanted to do. I wanted to chase chicks and drink beer. That's just the bottom line. My dad knew that. He knew exactly what I wanted to do. So I told the basketball coach we had lost to Marvin Harrison 2 straight years in the Catholic League basketball title. So
who did Marvin Harrison play for? I can't remember.
Roman.
Okay. All right. Did they have anybody else of note on that team?
Basketball?
Yeah.
Bernard Watson, Mikey Watkins. No, not the Mikey Watkins that we know from Penn State here.
That would have been an incredibly long high school career if it was the Mike Watkins we know. Yeah.
There was 3 Division I, like a Temple, a St. Joe's guy, and maybe a LaSalle, 3 Big Five players on that team, plus Marvin.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me think now. Mikey McKee was their point guard from Delran High School, from the Saka High School. So Mikey was the best friends with Johnny Saka, but he ended up coaching my high school. But he played against us. But my senior year, I didn't want to play basketball because I wanted to chase chicks and drink beer. But I told my coach I wanted to lift weights to get ready for Penn State. But my dad, he put the kibosh on that. He says, "Hey, I got a tire store. You can lift all the tires you want. I'll pick you up after school." He goes, "What time you done school?" I said, 2:15. He goes, "I'll be at school at 2:15. I'll bring you to work, and you work till 6." He goes, "You can lift as many tires as you want. You'll be big and strong when you go to Penn State." I said, "Dad, I think I'm going to play basketball this year, bud." So that's how I ended up playing basketball my senior year.
Good stuff.
Yep. So, and then I want to talk to Gijana about just about our class in general, but I mean, it just, you've heard us tell stories about the basketball courts and stuff like that with all the football players on the team that were basketball players too, and how much we love playing hoops and literally how talented the games were. It was it was pretty impressive.
Might have actually been a better starting 5 than we could have fielded with the men's basketball roster at that time.
I'm going to say absolutely, but growing up with a basketball playing brother who played at LaSalle and was a 1,000-point scorer and this and that, so he was my size, so he wasn't like a 6'10", 6'11 guy, but he was a 6'7 guy. He knew angles and he knew elbows. So I remember I was talking mad junk to Matt Gaudio one time. He was one of our forwards, and he was an undersized, thicker guy and this and that, but he was out there for one reason, and that was Bill Lambeard, control the paint, get rebounds and this and that. And I was like, I can get you. And we played, but he knew how to play the game. I mean, it was just me being athletic, and bigger than him, but he was tough as nails. So my brother is a very good example of that, of being 6'7", playing against guys who were, 7 foot tall from North Carolina and stuff.
Well, let's try to get this technical stuff hammered out. We're getting up towards the top of the hour, trying to get Kajana Carter in here to talk about his selection of the College Football Hall of Fame. So we're going to jump to a break. It's the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We are not at State College's Quaker Steak and Lube today as we're working through scheduling because the Ironhead could not be here. He's on the road with the wrestling team. So Goon graciously allowed me to set this up remotely so that I could come in and fill in for Jeff. And we're going to try to get Kajana in here ASAP. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. It's the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show on 98.7 The Fox.
You look a bit nervous, hey?
Thierry, what's it like to stand in the FIFA World Cup stadium?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Just tell me. Come on.
It's not something that you can put into words.
Such a tease.
You can't rush it. You will find out when it's your time.
Thanks for the wisdom, coach. So, how much longer?
Now go and make history, my man. Here's the World Cup you've been waiting for.
Actually, the World Cup's been waiting for me.
That's the spirit. Just remember who drove you here.
Inspiring every step of the next legend. The official matchball carrier, proudly sponsored by Kia. Inspiration connects us all.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again, The Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, The Fox, State College.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Not broadcasting today from State College's Quaker Steak and Lube. Goon and I are both at home. This is Chris Bucanani filling in for Jeff, the Ironhead Byers, on the road with the Penn State Wrestling team. Couldn't make the scheduling work to get out to the Lube, but certainly do encourage everybody in the range of this broadcast, whether you're listening over the airwaves at 98.7 FM here in Happy Valley, from anywhere in the world at 987thefox.info, or joining us by YouTube or Facebook. When you are in town, whether you live locally or you're here visiting, you want a good meal, head on out to Quaker Steak and Lube. The staff there is going to take the very best care of you. They have and have had since COVID the best, most consistent service I have found anywhere in the area. They got a great setup. If you want to go out there and watch any kind of sporting event, there's not a bad seat in the house in terms of a great vantage point on a flat panel TV. And in terms of the selection of wings, sauces, and dry rubs, it's really the best. It's the best in Happy Valley. So they got the total package at State College's Quaker Steak and Lube, and we couldn't be happier to be continually affiliated with them here on the Goon and Ironhead show. So, Goon, you got something for me. What's up?
Coldest beer in town, too.
How could I forget?
It's big. It's a big thing.
It's very big.
So Kijana's calling me about technical issues, and I'm like, you're talking to the wrong cat, baby.
So how are we doing? What are we thinking? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
He's going through his phone, so he's sitting there saying it's getting blocked up and this and that. So if he can't do it, I said, we'll figure it out over the weekend, and we'll do the show. We'll do it next week.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We'll get him. This is the new it's crazy, Goon. You and I are not, I would like to think, old men, okay? Now, we are men of a certain age, certainly, but we're not old, okay? We're not elderly. And yet, the world is transforming so quickly around us that sometimes this technical stuff makes me feel like I went to school in the Conestoga wagon. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I was actually saying on my show yesterday that now you are firmly ensconced in Generation X. I'm a few years younger than you. So I'm in this little like micro generation. They call them Xennials, or speaking of Conestoga wagons, the Oregon Trail generation. So you're born 78 to 84, I think it is. And the reason why they describe them as distinct is because people my age clearly remember an analog lifestyle and then went through the whole transformation to the digital age. So we kind of had one foot in each world, and we experienced the whole transition. And I said that to me, how I feel, kind of remembering what it was like and yet still kind of being comfortable with the way it is now, that is probably kind of what college football fans are going through right now. But you know what? Forget all of that nonsense, because we got the tech to work. I'm going to bring Kijana Carter in.
Oh,
here we go. Kijana, thanks for joining us.
What's up, fellas?
Oh, the question is, what's up with you? Finally. Better late than never. You are coming to the College Football Hall of Fame.
Hey, keep knows how I go. I'm the slowest walker. I get everything right at the last minute. I'm not late, but I'm right then and there. So this goes par for the course.
Yeah.
So, Goon, go. I'm going to try to get everybody set up.
We waited many an extra couple minutes for Kijana in the on the buses back in the day. Fastest guy in the field, but the slowest guy getting ready to do anything.
Dress, everything. I save all my energy, man.
Yeah, right.
So, Kijana, first and foremost, I just want to congratulate you, man. It's really great for you personally and awesome for Penn State to see you finally going into the Hall.
Yeah, man. Obviously, it's a true honor, and I was telling a lot of people, it just still feels surreal, because now, I mean, you know, when my kids, when they have kids, and my grandkids, great grandkids, they can always go to a place where, they can go say, hey, this is my dad, my granddad, my great granddad. It's just almost a legacy, for my family. But on top of that, I think it really shows the power and how good our team was. that 94 season because Kerry's already in. And obviously I was fortunate enough to get inducted this year. And like we always said, there's a few more guys I think that should get in there. So we won't keep on stopping rooting for them. But it just tells you the kind of team that we had, and you have more than one person on one team making the Hall of Fame.
Goon, what do you got?
Well, absolutely, Keith. So we were talking before the show and stuff like that.
Hold on. Am I delayed?
Yeah, there is a delay.
Okay. All right.
So, is there a specific reason you think it took this? Why did it take so long, Keith? What was going on? Do you think? I mean, I'm not putting you on the spot or nothing.
I think. Well, you know me. I've never been the one to been part of accolades. They came. That's great. Never thought out there being thirsty and saying, "Hey, I deserve this. I deserve that." But I would say, if anything, would be just how dominant our team was. Because if you look at my stats, the stats were great. You know, yards per carry, touchdown, this and that. But I didn't play that much. We didn't play that much. I didn't play that much that last year. And then you see a lot of other guys like James Laurinaitis. He was a 3-time All-American. I really only played 2 years. So when you start looking at the people's resumes, you know, you get caught up. It's like, yeah, these guys are great players, and I feel like I was too. But my resume might not have stacked up because I didn't play that many years like everybody else. Because like Joe, you know, he didn't like playing freshman, and when we did, we barely played. So when you look at my season total or my career numbers, it doesn't really add up to maybe some of those other guys that are out there.
Well, 2 stories I got, Kijana. I was talking before you got on the air with us, and that was beating Cincinnati 81-0, and the old man telling us that we weren't going to play. And me, you, and Jeff were on the side, and Marco were all saying, "Why are we even here? If we ain't going to play, let us, transfer." I mean, we weren't leaving, but you were gone. Oh, there we go.
This is the beauty of modern technology,
It's
man.
unbelievable,
It enables some incredible stuff, but at the same time, then you get stuck in a situation like this where you're trying to get Kijana in. I think he's in Florida now, right?
Yeah, Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, so there he is down in his car in Fort Lauderdale trying to join us, and looks like he just drove through a dead spot. Or I don't know, Goon, maybe he has a Verizon phone and he's running into all the same issues that Verizon users were all over the country yesterday.
The Verizon shutdown, huh? That was pretty scary. Where'd that come from?
It was brutal. You know, it's one of those things, and we're just on the fly. If we can get Kijana back, we'll bring him back in. If not, we'll get him with a more stable connection in the future. We appreciate folks rolling with the punches just as we do here on live radio. But
he made a good point. Booch, made a good point.
Yeah, go ahead.
He made a good point in that, saying that, like, he doesn't have the career numbers. You know what I mean? I mean, if you think about it, in '93, it was Stephen Michael Pitts, Mike Archie, and Kijana. I mean, they were the 3-headed quarterback. They were the 3-headed guys. They were the 3-headed tailback for us out there. It wasn't until '94 when he it was later that '93 year that he took that, like, okay, this is the guy that we're gonna ride here, and then it became Pitsy and Archie became like spot guys for different, if we're having a running back out of the backfield or a screen, Archie came in and Pitsy spelled them both and all that. But yeah, he's right. It wasn't like he had like the 92 year. I mean, he didn't really play that much in 92 because Richie Anderson got all the carries. We had a couple carries. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Was that me or whatever? Then do you sound like Chippin? You guys sound like Chippendale the Chipmunks. So I had to get out and get back in.
Well, Goon, better for you to sound like Chippendale the Chipmunks than the other kind of Chippendales. That's for sure.
This is true.
So, Kijana, yeah, let's just pick up where we left off. We were talking a little bit about that game in '91 where Penn State's just beating the brakes off Cincinnati, and none of you guys are going to get into the game. one of the things Goon and I were talking about in the first hour is that in the modern setup of college football, probably most of the guys who were stars on your 94 team never make it that far because in all likelihood you're in the transfer portal before you ever get a chance to play. Boom. I lost him again. Shoot.
Damn it.
I really wanted to hear his answer on that one too.
Yeah. I'll get him. We'll get an interview where we're all sitting down and we'll tape it and we'll play it next week. So
yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. But do you think that's fair, Goon? Because what I was talking about this on the air the other day, and the example I used from the 94 team was Kyle Brady, because I know if you go back and you look in the Daily Collegian, there are quotes from Kyle talking about how he had thought about transfer and earlier in his career. And if the portal exists, he's out of here.
If the portal existed and there was no Joe Paterno who had to sign the papers, yeah. That's not the one. I mean, it's not just that. It was, we could have transferred. You're going to miss a year.
Right.
Let's not forget about that aspect of it. You got to sit out a year unless you transfer down a program or down a level. So, comparing now and then is just not working. It just doesn't happen. It's just not, it's apples and oranges. It's just like as a fan, you have to realize what we have now versus like before. 30 years ago, you lost a game, you were pretty much out of national title contention. Like talk. You had to have the other 3 or 4 teams had to lose games for you to get back into it. So you get all that. Oh, one more time. One more time.
Is it working?
Do I sound like Chippendale?
Nope.
All right. We'll talk next week, Key.
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Is that working?
I hear you.
I hear you.
Oh.
I can hear you too.
Yeah, we're just talking, Key. I mean, how many guys do you think in 94 would have never had a chance to play because we all would have transferred the way how easy it is to do that now?
I know I was one of them. No, after that Cincinnati game, I know that's where we got cut off at. I told my mom, I said, I'm out of here. I said, we went at 81-0, and all of us were better than half the guys that were playing, no disrespect to our other teammates. And I said, I'm not playing? I said, oh, no, I'm out of here. So I think that I probably would have been one of them.
Yep. And I talked to Chris and I said how easy it is now, and that's what you can't compare now to then, because you had to sit out a year or go down a level. So where would you have gone, Key? And would you have gone down a level and just played 1 AA?
I mean, damn, think about it now. Probably parallel. I ain't going. I mean, no disrespect to 1 AA. I ain't trying to go to. Wasn't trying to go to 1 AA. If I was going to sit out either way, I'd rather probably just done parallel, and then probably would have went back home to Ohio State. Be honest with you.
So let's talk about that a little bit, Kijana. So you're an Ohio guy, end up at Penn State. Talk a little bit about your recruitment and what brought you to Happy Valley.
Oh boy, that was crazy. It was a crazy time because I think I was one of the last people to sign within our class because I am about 10 to 15 minutes away from Ohio State's campus, and just being heavily recruited, the hometown kid, you just get a lot of pressure. You start second guessing yourself. Being able to play for the team that you watch every Saturday. Obviously everybody in the community will be happy. But in the end, I really just kind of went where I was happy. And I just felt that compared to 2 schools, it just felt like even though I'm from Columbus, I felt more at home at Penn State. And obviously during the recruitment process, I was able to meet some of the guys that actually signed up. So like Mike Archie, we was on a recruiting trip together. It was just one of the things where I just the top running back. Only guy. And
not
I'm
looking so
gonna
good, man.
So I'm not gonna let that deter me for where I want to go.
Do you still have us, Kujana? I think we lost him again, Goon.
That's all right. No big deal.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, he's talking about meeting Mike Archie on his recruiting trip and stuff like that. And, I don't think enough people talk about that. Like, I brought up Marvin Harrison earlier. We had played against each other growing up and stuff like that, but never hung out with him. We went to Syracuse together, had a great weekend together.
Yeah.
There's some guys that you meet on the road, on your trips and stuff like that. I had a guy who I went to Syracuse with again, Greg Fry, who was from Clearwater, Florida, who ended up going to Florida State, and he's like a really, 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 really good offensive line coach. And like he was at Michigan the last few years. A couple of years ago, he was at Michigan and West Virginia and stuff like that. So it's just funny that the guys that you meet on different visits. So I was at Florida State with this guy, Greg Fry, and then we were at Syracuse together in the same weekends. I met Eric Clare at my Florida State visit, and he ended up being my roommate for 4 years. One of my roommates for 4 years. It was just one of those things. So, and it's true. It's like you get to a place, and like I don't know who Kijana's host was. Mine was Derek Pickett. Derek Pickett was from the same hometown as me. So, you got here and you just felt comfortable. I just felt comfortable with Pick. I mean, obviously, I was a different case because I had grown up here with my brother playing on the 83 to 86. So I knew what Penn State was all about.
Sure.
I knew my visit, Boots, was a Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
That's that's not prime party and bar hopping time.
No, absolutely not. My highlight of my visit was going downtown to McDonald's, and Pick said, "Here, they gave me $20. Hey, take it. You want beer?" And I said, "Oh."
By the way, R.I.P. to that downtown McDonald's.
R.I.P. to that whole building. What the hell?
Yeah. The new State College. Hey, listen, Goon, we were trying to keep this going with Kijana here, just getting into the College Football Hall of Fame. We're all juiced about it. We're proud of him as Penn Staters. Obviously, he was on the road down in Fort Lauderdale. Connection just wasn't stable. So I am going to hop to a break so you can just let him know. We can set something up with him in the future. Appreciate him doggedly trying to work through the technical issues, but we'll take a break here on the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. When we come back, we will probably talk a little bit about these NFL head coaching vacancies and maybe whether that dips into college football a little bit. We appreciate you being here with us. We're live on 98.7 The Fox in State College, and of course, love to have all the Facebook and YouTube viewers as well. We are not at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College today, but we do encourage you to go check it out whenever you're in town, whether you're here locally or you're just from outside the area. Maybe next time you come in for a visit, Blue White, graduation, Arts Fest, football, you name it. State College's Quaker Steak and Lube, your destination for the best selection of wings, sauces, and dry rubs in Happy Valley. And as Goon said, the coldest of beers you can get in State College. So we'll be back right after this. Don't go anywhere.
You look a bit nervous, eh?
Thierry, what's it like to stand in the FIFA World Cup stadium?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Just tell me. Come on.
It's not something that you can put into words.
Such a tease.
You can't rush it. You will find out when it's your time.
Thanks for the wisdom, coach. So, how much longer?
Now go and make history, my man. Here's the World Cup you've been waiting for.
Actually, the World Cup's been waiting for me.
That's the spirit. Just remember who drove you here.
Inspiring every step of the next legend. The official matchball carrier, proudly sponsored by Kia. Inspiration connects us all.
And all kinds of other tempting things. Great times, great food. Get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food. Get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXX, once again, the Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, the Fox State College.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. We are not broadcasting from Quaker Steak and Lube in State College. The Ironhead is in the air, maybe landing at this point in Iowa City with the Penn State Wrestling team. Big match coming up between Cale Sanderson's Nittany Lions and Tom Brand's Iowa Hawkeyes. It's going to be a big one. And the Ironhead obviously is going to be there to bring all the action to listeners across Nittany Nation on your Penn State Wrestling radio affiliate of choice, or go psusports.com. So this is Chris Bucanati of the obligatory PSU pregame show and podcast. You can, of course, get the pregame show on the Tingwall Film Network on YouTube. Highly recommend everybody subscribe to that and get all of Landon's previews for the upcoming college football playoff game for the national championship, as well as voluminous film breakdowns on the many dozens of players coming into Penn State via the transfer portal. And you can get the obligatory PSU podcast wherever you get your fine podcasts. Keith the Goon Conlin has been with me throughout the day. I know he is talking with the new college football Hall of Famer, Kajana Carter, helping Kajana get things sorted. Tried to have Kajana on the show today. Obviously did not work out in terms of connection stability. So we're going to have him sometime next week. But congratulations to him. Better late than never. Finally announced yesterday that he's going to be part of the class of 2026 in the College Football Hall of Fame. So because of the scheduling snafu, we knew it was coming, with Ironhead and myself swapping places, I could not get out to the Lube, had to do today's show remotely. But we do just want to shout out not only Lion Country Kia, the longtime sponsor of the Goon and Ironhead show, but the good folks at State College's Quaker Steak and Lube. Just best selection of wing sauces and dry rubs in Happy Valley, and the coldest beer you can get in State College. So I got Goon back with me, and Goon, as we kind of get into the home stretch of the show today, I did want to turn our attention to all of these NFL head coaching vacancies. You know, I said going into Wild Card Weekend, there were 9 open spots, and I saw 3 places where maybe that number could increase. One of them was Buffalo. I thought if they went to Jacksonville and got bounced in the first round, maybe patience runs out for Sean McDermott. I'm not saying I thought it was going to happen, but I thought it was a possibility. I also thought it was a possibility in Green Bay, and they did have a really embarrassing road loss to their arch rivals. They hadn't lost to the Bears in the playoffs literally since Pearl Harbor. And I thought, you know, maybe patience runs out there as well. There was some talk about it after the game, but Matt LaFleur is coming back. But Pittsburgh was the third of those 3 places. And I really don't think this is one of those situations where Mike Tomlin was told, resign or you're fired. But whether he's going to another coaching job or TV or what, the Pittsburgh Steelers job is open for the first time in 2 decades.
It's crazy. Ironhead said the other day he's only had 3 coaches in the Steelers in his whole lifetime. It's crazy to think.
It's wild. I mean, if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, you've gone 3-year stretches where you've had 3 coaches.
I mean, you want to go to the Marion, Swamp Fox, Campbell, and Rich Kotite days there, Jeff? Ironhead? I mean, what do you want to do? You want to put those names up, Ironhead? Jeez.
So let me ask you.
Me and Booch have been going through it for years. So
how about it?
So it was Tomlin the 9th, or was he the 10th?
He is the 10th. So they're now roughly a third of the league.
That's unbelievable to think about. Somebody said on television last night, could you imagine that unemployment rate? Oh, it's running the 31% right now in the NFL football coaches.
Well, you know what? If all the unemployed folks were getting the kind of golden parachutes that these head coaches are, I don't think anyone would be complaining.
See, I don't know what the hell's real and what the hell's fake anymore on the internet. So, you know, I think I saw an interview with the Rooneys, and they were saying that they were going to honor his contract, even though if he goes into the media, they're still going to honor it. And I'm like, why would you do that? I mean, it's got to be complete falsehood, in my opinion.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
My advice to everyone when they come up and ask me about all this fake Penn State nonsense that gets posted to Facebook is if you see a Penn State football story and it's on Facebook, don't believe it until you can corroborate it from 2 other sources.
It's unbelievable how fast and how crazy that this stuff is, and what's believable, what's not believable. It's scary, is what it is, and you know what's true, what's not true. How do I get crazy? And yeah.
Well, here's something that would be scary, right? This is where I want to start. I want to get you like me or an Eagles fan, and it has been, kind of a benefit of being in the NFC East that for a good portion of this century, the majority of the teams in that division have been a dumpster fire visible from space, especially after Eli left the Giants. That team has been a complete mess. You know, they've gone through multiple head coaches who were complete disasters, and now it looks like they are zeroing in on wrapping things up with John Harbaugh. You think that's a negative, a positive, or neutral for the Eagles?
That's a negative for the Eagles, in my opinion, because I think that John Harbaugh is a hell of a coach. He's got it all. I mean, think about it. He comes from the Andy Reid tree.
Yes.
I don't even know if people realize he was a special teams coach with
coordinator.
Yep. And he was very good and very, very he was on top of it. And probably, if not, he was the best special teams coach in the NFL. And what he did going to Baltimore, winning the Super Bowl and all that stuff. But then it's a lot like the Andy Reid situation and the Mike Tomlin situation. It's just like it just grew old. It's just like it just grew stagnant. I think that Tomlin, his time at Pittsburgh had run out. I think he realized that. He knows that. The players knew that. But, you know, I don't think people believe us when we say this, that we both still root for Andy Reid. Well, then why did you get rid of him in Philadelphia? Because he wasn't working out in Philadelphia. They needed a change, and it was great.
This stuff runs its course.
Yep.
sometimes you as a coach need a fresh start and a chance to get some perspective. And the organization just needs to hear a different voice. They need a different approach. You can't have Taco Tuesday and Fast Food Friday like Andy Reid did for almost 15 years. You got to change some things up. You got to get Chip Kelly in there for a couple years with his bioengineered smoothies before, you just hit the reset button. It's just the way it is. Parcells used to talk about it all the time. He said that coach and organization had a 10-year shelf life. And after one guy spent a decade with the same organization, and I talked about this a lot this fall after James got fired, the shtick just goes stale. Everyone inside the building is getting sick of you, and truth be told, you're getting sick of them. And I think it was one of these situations with both of these guys, these AFC North guys, Tomlin and Harbaugh. Now, for me, the question is, how much gas does John Harbaugh have left in the tank? Everybody is treating this like he's going to go to New York, and just because he had all the success in Baltimore, that he's instantly going to transform the Giants back into a respectable organization. Well, there's a lot of issues, man, with that team, with that org. And here you have a guy who's been doing this for 14 years straight. And I just wonder, is he bringing the same fire that he had earlier in his career, or is this a Walmart greeter job for him?
I'm with you. You don't know what you're going to get. I mean, he might be burnt out and just looking to get a paycheck. And but I don't know. Knowing the Harbaugh family with the father and Jim, I don't think John is going to be that far from them. I think he's a much more level-headed person than Jim Harbaugh.
My theory is that all the crazy went to Jim and all the normal went to John.
You can see that where, John is the oldest and he's a lot like his father and very stoic. And then there's the crazy young upstart young kid that, was 4 years younger, but thought he was on parallel with his older brother and, always in competition with him and stuff like that. That's just, that's how Jim lived his life. So,
it's an interesting point. Just as an aside, as we were talking about these two guys, you mentioned that John Harbaugh was Andy Reid's special teams coordinator in Philly. Andy Reid now has been coaching nonstop in the NFL for 26 years.
As a head coach.
As a head coach, yeah. And he has, in that time, developed a pretty impressive coaching tree. There are a lot of former Andy Reid assistants who have either had a shot at being head coaches or became head coaches and are still out there. I just talked about Sean McDermott, a lot of these guys. Then you look at Mike Tomlin. This just blows my mind. 19 years as the head coach of the Steelers, essentially no coaching tree to speak of.
That's pretty impressive to think about now that you say that. It's
an impressive accomplishment to coach for 2 decades in the NFL and have none of your assistants become head coach. I think it's actually harder to do that than it is to not just accidentally have one guy get hired by the Jets, right?
Was it a loyalty thing with the with Joe Pa?
I think it was a mixture of things. Some of it was just a product of circumstance, but I do think if you talk to any Steelers fan, I joke about this all the time. I said started really paying attention to the Steelers when I got to college in the late 90s, because then I started having friends and roommates who were Steelers fans. I don't think I have ever met a Steelers fan in that 29-year time period who did not hate the offensive coordinator of the Steelers. So that's going all the way back to the Bill Cowher days. But it did seem to me that one of the issues Mike Tomlin had, persistent for almost his entire tenure, is that he did not hire innovative offensive coordinators because that didn't play into his preferred style of football as a defensive guy. And so those type of coaches did not get head coaching offers. I think the last Steelers offensive coordinator to get a head coaching job would have been Ken Wisenhunt.
Todd Haley.
Oh, boy, you're right. Yes, head coach of the Chiefs. And by the way, Steelers fans hated Ken Wisenhunt and Todd Haley.
But they also hated Haley, too.
Yeah, they hated that guy's guts.
They went on and did coaching jobs, but they all got hated for it anyway. So, Yeah, I mean, Terrell Austin has been Mike Tomlin's defensive coordinator for how long? You know, Terrell Austin was a coach here at Penn State with us, right?
No,
he was a grad assistant. He was a grad assistant when I was here when me and Kijana were playing.
Was he really?
Yep. Hell of a guy, nice guy, great guy. I'd love to see him doing well.
So there were two future NFL coordinators and one going on to be a head coach on that staff.
Go ahead. Who we got? Talk to me.
Well, now I just completely had an old man brain fart. The head coach of the Colts.
Larry Caldwell.
Yeah, Jim Caldwell. Yeah.
Jim Caldwell, not Larry.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's my cousin. Jim Caldwell.
He
yes,
was.
exactly right.
I want to say he was quarterbacks coach for you guys.
He was quarterbacks coach, and he was pretty much the OC in '91 and '92, I think.
Okay,
91ish, and then he left to go down to Wake Forest.
Wow, so that's crazy. So at least for 1 or 2 years, Jim Caldwell and Terrell Austin both on the same staff at Penn State.
Yeah, but Terrell was a.
And you know what? Hell, there were two head coaches because I'm trying to make sure I'm getting all the years right. But you had Caldwell, Austin, and then Rutgers head coach. What is happening? Greg Schiano. Wasn't he on your staff as well?
Yeah, he was a GA and then a full-time coach. Then he went to the Bears, and then he went to the Miami Hurricanes, and then to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yes, he was head coach of the Buccaneers for a short period of time.
And we had Craig Service was our O-line coach. He left after '94. He was the head coach of the University of Buffalo.
Yes.
I got one for you.
Go ahead.
If Franny Gaynor does not turn down
Michigan State,
there's no Nick Saban.
No Nick Saban. Yeah,
right?
I thought about that often.
There's a timeline right there. It comes for it, and yeah. So Saban got the Michigan State job because Franny turned it down. Service went to. Let me think now. Any other GAs that I had? We had
circa 91, Goon. Is Schiano, is he a GA or is he a full-time coach at that point?
I believe he was a GA, and then by 92 he was a full-time coach. So it was like one of those there was only like 9, if I remember, there's only 9 full-time positions on the staff back then.
Right.
So if I go out and I say, Franny, Jim Caldwell, Dick Anderson, Bill Kenny, Craig Service. There's a lot of guys on offense, and on defense it was Scrap, Jerry, and Buddy Sarah.
Right. So did Schiano? He coached DBs, right?
He coached DBs as a GA pretty much, and then when I believe somebody moved on, he came up. He went up a level to the full-time position.
Yeah, that is just a really interesting little piece of trivia. I had never thought about the fact that there were 2 future NFL head coaches on that staff at the same time. That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, Terrell has been mentioned a couple times to be a head coach. I just think he has that loyalty to Tomlin. So
sure,
it'll be interesting to see what Terrell does if he is going to get a shot as a head coach. Because I know he's interviewed in a couple places.
Yeah, yeah. Some guys too. They're just happy burrowing in and being coordinators. It's not a bad life, man. The pay is pretty good. If you love doing X's and O's, as Denzel Washington said, remember the Titans, you never see an assistant's name in the papers for losing a football game unless your name's Kevin Patullo.
Why? Why would you segue like that, bro?
For those of you who don't know, that is the Eagles offensive coordinator who was rightly told to hit the pike about 30 seconds after their season ended. But let me ask you this, Goon. That is, I think, and national reporting seems to back it up, one of the most attractive non-head coach openings in the league. Do you have a preferred candidate as a Birds fan who you'd like to have come in there? There's some big names being mentioned.
I saw some of the names being mentioned. It was the guy from the Giants. Right?
Yes. Yep. Brian Daboll.
I like that a lot. I really do. Because I think he's a quarterback guy, and I think that he could get into Jalen's head.
So he was the OC and quarterbacks coach at Alabama. The season Jalen Hurts led them to the national title game.
Okay, so that's why
he
that was
coached
my
that
next question.
quarterback
So
room.
he has a history with Jalen, so I love that opportunity.
Yeah.
If Daboll wants to step down from being the head coach of the New York Giants to now just going to be the offensive coordinator, quarterback whisperer for the Philadelphia Eagles, does he do that?
Hey, man, money's green. Like, that guy's not getting another head coaching offer in the NFL right now. There's
not
no
as a head coach. But you've got to stay in football. You got to get in a position. You can't take more than a year off in the NFL because the way I'm going to say technology, it's the wrong word, but the way the game moves as fast as it moves, you miss a year, you're done.
Yeah, well, and Daboll is widely credited with developing Josh Allen. And my friends up in Buffalo who I talk to, who are the big-time fans and media folks up there, there's kind of the perception that he's more, as we just talked about, of a coordinator than a head coach. So that's one name. I'll tell you who's intriguing to me, super intriguing, and I think would be a really good fit with Philly's personnel and probably with Nick Sirianni is Mike McDaniel, who is another guy who I think is much better suited to being an OC than a head coach.
Yeah, he's going to fit in well in Philadelphia with the capri pants and the vape on the sideline, bro.
So here's the deal. I think I get your point. And Noble cracked me up when he said he talking about Mike McDaniel as a head coach. He said your head coach can't wear capris.
No.
You know what I think your offensive coordinator can. You know, everybody has the meme of Tiger Woods and John Daly. And they're, like the Tiger Woods is the offensive coordinator and John Daly's the defensive coordinator. I think there's a certain tolerance level for kind of quirky, offbeat behavior from your OC. And I will tell you what, if he can do with Philly's offense after the milquetoast nonsense we just watched for 18 games in 2025, what he did when he was out in San Francisco, no one's going to care. No one's going to care whether he vapes or what kind of pants he wears or his funny eyeglasses. People will not give a crap. They just want to see an offense that's got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, one of the best offensive lines in the league, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and probably Dallas Goedert. I think they will find a way to bring him back. They just want to see that not look like a high school offense from 1987.
Do you think they're going to get Lane back, or do you think he calls it quits?
No, I think he's coming back.
Really?
I do. You just kind of like you got that extra year out of Jason Kelce. I think these guys, none of them wants to go out on an injury. And, you look at it and you say, man, there's enough talent to go back and win another ring before my career is over. And what I call it quits, that's it. I'm done. No more football. So the question is, do you have any gas left in the tank? Which Lane certainly looked like he did this year. If he can get his foot and ankle right, I think he comes back for another season.
He and Brandon Graham are the only two-time, right?
I believe so, yeah. So no, Jake Elliott also.
Well, he gone. He's had a bad year. He probably gone. So, no, you're right. Does the possibility of another ring make him want to come back for another year? And that's a pretty enticing thing, to be a 3-time Super Bowl champion in Lane Johnson. And you're right. No one wants to go out on an injury. I mean, you blow your knee out, you blow your back out, your shoulder's destroyed. You can understand that. You're not going to sit there and say, I stopped because of a Liz Frank surgery, And that's a good point, Booch.
Let me ask you another Eagles-related question. How did you learn what a Liz Frank injury is? I want to see if you learned the same way I did.
Dawkins?
Deuce Staley.
Was it Deuce? Okay.
Yeah. I'd never heard of such a thing, and then it happened to Deuce. All right, so folks, you were
tuning in. How many of your friends all of a sudden got Liz Frank injuries on their own? Oh, my feet are killing me. I got the Liz Frank thing. I got the Liz Frank thing, and you're like, what the hell is that?
This thing no one had ever heard of 2 minutes ago. Then the Eagles running back gets it, and everyone's got it. Yeah. Okay, folks. A Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Not a Quaker Steak and Lube today, coming to you remotely as I'm filling in Chris Bucanani filling in for Jeff the Ironhead Byers. You got that big match coming up between the Nittany Lions and the Hawkeyes. Jeff will be bringing it to you. Got Keith Goon Conlin remoting in. What do you got, Goon?
You went to Iowa a couple of years ago, right?
For wrestling? No,
for football.
A while ago, yeah.
Yeah, and what were the fans acting like? Wait till wrestling season.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, there are a few pockets across this whole country where you could tell the fan base that the most attended event in our basketball arena during basketball season is a wrestling match, and they would know what you're talking about. And I was one of them. Yeah, they never stop thinking about wrestling out there.
They love it. And but it's like, we have pockets here that, they're like where you grew up is huge.
Yes.
Wrestling is huge.
Yep.
Lehigh Valley is amazing. Western Pennsylvania, there's places in Eastern PA, Central PA, but there's just pockets.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole state of Iowa loves it. So I'm interested to see, with Campbell and stuff like that, and the Iowa State guys coming over here. Now we got now they're with Kale and the boys and all these guys coming in. So I'm interested to see if how involved they get with the wrestling program and stuff.
Yeah, I hadn't even really thought about that. And a lot of them are Iowa kids. I mean, they are from that state.
Yep.
Probably some of them, I bet, wrestled growing up in high school.
Yeah, we talk about us playing basketball and lacrosse and this and that. That's wrestling out there. And if anybody would ask me, the two sports that correlate the most to basketball is a great sport to play to get better for football, in my opinion, because your footwork as a bigger person. But I'll tell you what, I don't know if you ever messed around or screwed around or, tried to fight a wrestler. It's a whole different world, bro.
Yeah, it's interesting. The heavyweight on my high school team he played on the football team, but the best wrestler we produced, the only one who ended up getting a Division I scholarship, he didn't play football, and I always thought he could. I mean, he would have probably been a skill position guy because the one thing is, like, a lot of those guys, they don't have the build and the bulk necessarily that you see in a lot of football players, but they're tough as nails, right? They're super strong. They understand how to use leverage. A lot of them are multi-sport athletes. So, yeah, I'm actually surprised often the number of guys who seem like they should be football players somewhere on the field who are wrestlers, but they're not.
Yeah, you figure you got your linebackers, your tight ends, and your offensive and defensive linemen. That's about it. You're not going to have a 125 to 156-pound football player. It's just not going to happen.
I think it's because the wrestling coaches don't want them getting hit. They don't want them taking all the hits during the football season.
Well, I mean, physically, how many of those guys can actually play football? You're talking the first 4 or 5 weight divisions. They're not big enough to play football.
Hey, man, Darren Sproles.
Yeah, well, yeah. And that was a few and far between with that one, man.
Hey, okay, so last thing I wanted to bring up with you today, talking about these coaching vacancies, is that the rumors continue to swirl around Marcus Freeman. And he insists he's sticking at Notre Dame. And I think I believe him. But when I think about what it means to become head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, if they call, man, you got to think long and hard about that.
Absolutely.
But here's the other question. And this is, to me, this has been the wildest college football season in forever. And I'm not sure all the crazy stories are over yet, because there's a lot of talk about could the Steelers or one of these other teams throw a big bag at Curt Cignetti especially if he wins the national title. And he feels like maybe he finished off the job at Indiana, and he's super hot commodity. Ryan Day, the Ohio State folks are saying a lot of them believe that at one point he does want to go try the NFL.
I mean, have we not learned our lesson? It's not exactly like graduating high school to go to college.
No, I see you're preaching to the choir, but I mean, look, every year, one of these NFL coaches or owners at least gets infatuated with the idea of going and getting one of the big names in college.
Get the young. I mean, honest to God, Freeman makes a lot of sense to me. Cignetti, the only thing he's got right. Could you imagine that Cignetti's like his like coaching, his he started coaching 35 years ago. He spent 20 years at one place, 5 years, and then his last 6 years have been in like 4 different places, and he's won, and then goes off into the sunset as the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. I mean, think about that. I mean, here's a guy who grew up in Western Pennsylvania. Means a lot to him, but he's 68. It doesn't fit the Pittsburgh Steelers MO for hiring coaches.
Yeah, I mean, they're out there interviewing these like 30-year-old coordinators from the
Marcus
Rams.
Freeman.
That's the
Checks
exact
a lot of
opposite. Now,
boxes for the Rooney family and the Steelers.
here's the thing. Do you think a team like the Jets, because Woody Johnson loves to spend stupid money, and when you're in the New York market, you're always looking to make a splash, or maybe more interesting to me, the Raiders, who are also in a market where you want to make a splash, have an owner with a history of wanting to do that, and the number one pick, so the chance for coach and quarterback to stick together. Do they make an offer to Curt Cignetti and say, we will pay you $20 million a year to come be the coach of our team? I could see that happening with either one of those two organizations. Now, I don't know if he would want to go to the Jets. The Raiders, I don't know, maybe that's interesting to him. For $20 million a year, you talk about his age, he only has so many prime earning years left. And I don't think it's off the table that a team like that looking to make a splash who would say, we're going to reunite you with Fernando Mendoza. We're going to be the biggest story of the offseason, which the Davis family has always loved to be. And we're just going to outbid everybody and throw stupid money at you to get you from college to the NFL.
You make good points, Christopher. You really do. I mean,
let me ask you this. I don't think Sig's going anywhere. Let's just pretend for a moment. Let's pretend for a moment he goes. All right.
Cignetti.
Yes.
To the Raiders.
Or anywhere. He goes somewhere to the NFL. Is Indiana a good job?
If the money stays, because I said on the radio the other day about Cuban was sitting there saying, 2 years ago it was like, let's see what this money does.
Yeah.
Last year was we see what it does. How much can we do? How much more can we do with it? And then now it's going to be let's roll. So I think.
Do you know who's the natural guy to take that spot if Curt Cignetti were to go to the NFL?
Go ahead.
Kalen DeBoer. Former offensive coordinator there. Clearly more of a Midwest personality than Deep South. After the way Indiana bounced them out of the playoffs, everyone in Tuscaloosa would be thrilled to see him head out the door. It's an everybody wins scenario. And then all of a sudden, Alabama's open. And the whole carousel starts again. I don't think it's crazy, man. I really don't think it's crazy to imagine that Ryan Day makes that jump. All of a sudden, Ohio State's open, and that might be the one job Marcus Freeman thinks about leaving to take in college. Then Notre Dame comes open. And I mentioned it in the first hour. What happens if Sark leaves Texas? We could still see 2 or more of the biggest jobs in college football come open before we get to the end of the 2025 season, so to speak.
Yeah, and the portal's still open. You think they're waiting for the portal to close, and then they can jump out?
Well, yeah. So just so everybody understands, so tomorrow is just the deadline to enter your name into the portal. I've talked to some people who are confused. They think that the deadline to find a landing spot is tomorrow. No, it's just after tomorrow. You cannot declare for the portal. These guys can take as long as they want to find their new home. But if a coach leaves, once the new coach gets hired, it's the same deal as happened with Penn State. There's 5 days, and then everybody on that roster is able to go in the transfer portal. So there could still be a whole lot of chaos left till we get to the end of this cycle, because the NFL could come in and scoop up one or more of these guys, and then those jobs that they leave, Texas, Ohio State, Notre Dame, even Indiana, like I talked about now with the Mark Cuban money there, that could become an attractive landing spot for a different college coach to come take that job. And then what opens up? USC, Alabama, who knows? So until we see a bunch of young NFL coordinators take these NFL head coaching gigs, there is going to be some possibility that there's more chaos at the collegiate level.
You scare me, Boots, but you're spot on. But I mean, if Marcus Freeman takes the Steelers job, but then Ohio State opens up, he might leave the Steelers for the that's where I think that he ultimately wants to be is Ohio State.
That's his alma mater.
That's just how I am. But I just don't see. I mean, how many times can Signetti tell an NFL player, "Google me, I win"?
Yeah,
right. The NFL player's like, "Shut the hell up, I don't care."
Yep.
Before A.J. Brown stands in his room and says, "I don't care." DK Metcalf says, "I don't give a crap." You know. I just don't think that's going to work.
Of all the guys we talked about, I think Freeman seems like he could maybe figure out how to coach NFL players. He seems like a master motivator. And I think Sark could probably succeed because it seems like more and more the model for NFL head coaches is they want guys who are play callers. And Sark has already proved he can do it at that level. Like, that's one of his strengths. In fact, in some ways, I think he's better suited to the NFL than maybe he is to motivating at the highest level in college.
Yeah.
Ryan Day, Kurt Signetti, to your point, some guys seem like they're better fits in college. I think those guys should probably stay put where they're at.
I agree with that. I just don't see Ryan. I mean, I can see Ryan Day as a coordinator in the NFL, but not a head coach. I just don't see it. I just don't see his personality melding with players. And then, we can go back and let's talk about the Oakland Raiders or Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
getting rid of their coach and all the stories that are coming out. Did you hear all that stuff?
Only bits and pieces. I know there were issues with his kid coaching the offensive line, and they said no, but he didn't know what he was doing at all.
They said that they were having offensive line meeting rooms with Geno Smith and the running backs because they were trying to figure out blocking schemes because the O-line coach had no idea.
Not good.
No.
Not good at the professional
level. That was a reason you get fired in 1 year in the NFL.
Well, I know Noble was just saying, we're kind of talking about coaching changes and everything this season. At one point on the podcast, he said, you would be shocked at the number of NFL coaches who just no business coaching in the league. They just have no idea what they're doing. Which you don't want to believe. You don't want to believe at that level that it's possible. And yet that seems to be the case. All right, Goon, we got to get out of here. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for letting me come in and fill in for the Ironhead. Thanks for letting me come in remotely. And thanks to our good sponsors, our good friends at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College. Really appreciate them being longtime partners of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show. Go out and patronize our supporters and get yourself some good wings, cold beer. What do you got before we get out of here, Goon?
Have a great weekend, boys and girls.
Love it. Enjoy the NFL games, everybody. Congratulations to Kajana Carter on his belated selection to the College Football Hall of Fame. We'll be back next week. Until then, be good and be safe.
You look a bit nervous, hey?
Thierry, what's it like to stand in the FIFA World Cup stadium?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Just tell me. Come on.
It's not something that you can put into words.
Such a tease.
You can't rush it. You will find out when it's your time.
Thanks for the wisdom, coach. So, how much longer?
Now go and make history, my man. Here's the World Cup you've been waiting for.
Actually, the World Cup's been waiting for me.
That's the spirit. Just remember who drove you here.
Inspiring every step of the next legend. The official matchball carrier, proudly sponsored by Kia. Inspiration connects us all.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
Lusk & Associates Sotheby's International Realty proudly presents the introduction of our new State College office at 314 South Borough Street in State College. At Sotheby's International Realty, we advertise locally, nationally, and internationally, bringing the best of advertising and promotion to each and every one of our properties, big or small. Call now.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU